where the name came from, that is using computers, using simulation tools, we can actually get an approval from the FDA itself using doing the simulation and getting good result and submitting those results itself. Then third point is with the respective view of designers and surgeons. So you will have a better understanding of your product, how it works. For example, in surgeon's case and all, surgeons will be able to see the stent, how it will be performing when it is placed in a particular patient's vein or blood vessels, right? So how the flow will be, how you can modify the stent so that the flow will be in a better way. So these all actually improves the quality of equipments as well as the healthcare industry as a total into the. Coming into how our medical field evolved. Basically, in the initial days, we did in vivo, which means we do all kind of experiments and tests in human body itself, right? Which is a very costly and time-taking procedure also. And then there is the in vitro, which I meant, like you can create your own environment in a laboratory, like, or do a test in laboratory using different equipments and making sure it works. And the third way is the in silico, which means you do a simulation. You create your own virtual world over a personalized body, and you test in those environment or have a better simulation to understand those things. One more better thing about in silico is that you have the result with you in order to understand how completely it works, right? In experiments and all, you take data from a particular area, particular region, or particular way. But if you miss something and if you want to see again, you have to do the experiment again, right? But in silico, once you do, in different way, different kind of results are available in order to understand the product itself in a better way. So why people or why healthcare industry should look for an alternative solution like simulation is one major reason is innovative, as I mentioned, which you can have use a virtual human laboratory like in simulation world and have a very confidence in your product in order to launch it. Second thing is long and costly clinical testing, right? So you have to test and you have to have multiple data in different people in order to have in order to prove your product itself, right? So by using the in silico testing procedure also in pharmaceutical industries, in order to have better drugs and all, still it is being used and you can get approval also. So coming into approval period also, it is very the FDA itself has a roadmap in order to understand how you can actually cut short your time as well as the money, so that you can bring your product to a market very easily and very reduced cost itself. So if you see the computer-based will help in order to reduce the time, but we are not saying that the test completely itself will be removed, because test has to be done. It is an important thing. You have to do that at least. But the repetition of the test before you reach the finalized product, that prototyping, testing the prototype, getting failed, then remodeling it again, that all part you can actually avoid. Coming into understanding what engineering simulation itself is. So basically you can take the data through scanning or different methods and make your own STL geometry. Then taking the implant or any other kind of analysis for that, you can modify your geometry in the space claim. I will show a demo also in order to understand in the further slide. And for that, the second step is to give the proper material data also. So any analysis, the input should be more accurate. Your output depends upon your input also, right? So the bone density here, the bone density and bone properties, basically the stiffness or the Young's modulus, should be a very accurate value, right? The major problem with bone density is that it is not constant throughout the body, throughout the bone, as well as the density varies from person to person also. It's person specific also. So you can actually enter all these data in ANSYS using different methods, basically giving each density through the element or through the coordinate system. You can enter that and have, and you can input the forces coming onto this body part, um, um, yeah, force coming onto this body part, and do a test so that you can see how your bone, how the stresses are coming in the bone, as well as how your implant is behaving with respect to bone. Is it sliding too much? How the contact pressure is? All those kind of things you will be able to see. Hello, I think I lost my sharing. Yeah, you are able to see now.
Yes, we
Okay.
can see.
Okay. Yeah, as I mentioned, you will be able to see the results like stress variations. Then you can even study the fatigue analysis in order to approximate how much life the product will be having. Um, so the last session we have done was orthopedic, different kind of joints, how it can be used, how you can modify your implants basically. um, we have covered in knee, shoulder, spine. These kind of joints are important because there is involvement of lot of motion, as well as there is involvement of not only structure way, fluid also plays, like synovial fluid comes into picture. So understanding the joint itself and making a optimized implant was very important. So if you have missed this seminar, you can have the recorded session. So these are the top companies that uses ANSYS in order to provide, in order to make or invent their own materials and bring it to the industry. So you can see a lot of big names here, basically. So coming into our topic today, so what I've actually mentioned before was in a general aspect, and today's topic is majorly we are looking into how simulation can help with respect to hospital equipments, right? So there are a lot of hospital equipments, like wheelchair, MRI scan, prosthetics, then other scanning equipments, bed chairs. So there are a lot of equipments that will be needing a special care, basically special requirements. It's not like a normal bed or normal chairs. So in order to meet different kind of personalized ideas or personalized requirements, and simulation will help in a much better way. So here, one of the example we can see here is a simulation done in order to get a good idea about how we can model cushion for a wheelchair, right? So the most part of a time a person spend, a handicapped person, will be on this cushion part. So if the cushion is not well maintained or well developed, then with respect to time, the pressure, the contact pressure between the seat and the lower part of the body, thighs, buttocks, and everything, there the contact increases, and there is a high chance of ulcers coming. The blood flow will get reduced, and future the health issues will increase, right? So you can see here actually the comparison between a rigid seat for different thickness and a soft seat for different thickness. The analysis was done, and we were able to see the contact pressure between the body part and the seat, and we will able to see that if the majorly decreasing the pressure, if the pressure between the two bodies is less, that means it's more comfortable for the person who is using. So you can even test for different location, different positions. and so this is the same experiment that was done basically, simulation. So you can also see how we are modeled the cushion part. So modeling the cushion part is not as similar as any other metal or materials, because the cushions are a hyperelastic like a rubber material, like it's highly non-linear material, like foam and all. So in order to model different kind of materials, we have material modeling inside ANSYS itself, like hyperelasticity, viscoelasticity, viscoplasticity. So different kind of material modeling is available, and you can see how actually the contact pressure, where the maximum pressure comes. So how much the foam is getting deformed and making it comfortable. Will the foam get reshaped, or how much stress is creating? You can also see. So next we come to structural integrity of the wheelchair itself, the structure that we make for wheelchair, right? So there are multiple requirements comes from different persons. Like motor wheelchairs are there. Then for Olympics, we use very lightweight but sturdy wheelchair, where we can use composite, actually lightweight, but we should not compromise much on the uh, uh, structural integrity wise also, right? So in that cases we can use composite materials. So the property for composite material is little different, as um, the strength of the composite materials varies in different directions. At the same time, it's very sturdy and lightweight also. So it is majorly used in Olympics for sport events and all. You can actually model, and there is a specific module in ANSYS itself in order to model composite materials, layering it up, and we can also different kind of post processing also can be done in order to find the different failures for composite basically. Similarly, in order to understand the wheelchair integrity itself, you can model it as a aluminum, steel, and see what will be the integrity itself. How will a wheelchair's frame will deflect when a person is sitting using for multiple times? What will be the life of the wheelchair by doing a fatigue analysis? So different kind of analysis can be done in order to understand, and then we can also do vibration analysis, like modal analysis, harmonic analysis, because when you are modeling a wheelchair with motors, electrical motors, the motor will be vibrating, and that vibrating should not come to the person who is using it. He should not feel that vibration, right? So in order to dam that effect, in order to make the patient comfortable, so we can do those kind of vibration study also inside a wheelchair in order to understand that. So the next aspect of test of wheelchair is crash or drop test of a wheelchair. So we have heard like multiple automotive industry releasing data, like Tata Motors or Maruti. They have 5-star rating in crash test of 3 4 star ratings, right? So these 4-star or 3-star ratings is majorly um, by doing this crash test basically. So the impact test and how actually affects the driver or the person who is using it. The safety feature wise, how much less damage is being caused, all those kind of things gives this star result, 5-star. If the patient, if the driver is completely safe, he will be getting 5-star. So that is how this crash test is being done in automotive industry. Similarly, for the safety features for getting the approval also, usually wheelchair drop test or wheelchair crash test is being done in order to understand how much damage can the wheelchair take, or how safe will the patient be. Even not only the wheelchair, actually we can also model a dummy model, the mass of a man, or mass of the person, and actually we can have velocity and give a velocity and impact it and understand how much damage it will cause to the wheelchair or the patient. We can actually see how it affects actually, and able to see how crashes work. Next, coming into stretchers, which is also a major important equipment that is being used not only inside hospitals but also in ambulance, right? So it has to be pass different tests, and it should be well designed in order to first thing is structural integrity so that it doesn't deform or it will carry multiple loads. First thing. Second thing is whenever we are using these structures inside ambulance, it should not vibrate. It should not vibrate so that the patient will not feel that vibration of the vehicle, right? So we can actually do different kind of vibration analysis like eigen frequencies in order to understand what is a natural frequency of the structure, so that we can design initially itself, like the structure frequency should not be in this range, so that whenever we are using it in an ambulance, it will not vibrate too much. It's not only for structures, other equipments in modern ambulances like different electronic equipments are also being installed inside the ambulance. So there also this vibration plays a major role. Um, to dam the vibration, the suspension should be very good, or the vibration coming from the vehicle to these equipments should be very minimum. So the transmissibility of these vibrational forces we can reduce by installing rubber shock absorbers or other kind of material, and we can actually study these kind of reactions or responses of the vibration by doing eigenvalue study. And one more other study usually being done is random vibration, where you will be able to understand uh, how much safe your structure or stretcher is inside the ambulance, right? Basically, what happens with the vehicle is that when you ride from one point to another, you don't know what will be the vibration. One day you go through one way, the vibration is different. Maybe the road will be smooth. Sometimes the road will be very jumpy. So we actually don't know how much the vibration will be. So whenever you have to do that kind of statistical approach where you will be mentioning like 1 sigma, 2 sigma, that kind of statistical approach, you can go for random vibration analysis so that you can say that my structure is safe enough to this range of frequencies. Then coming into a next part like bed, or the sole of the bed itself, cushion part of it. So here, this is an analysis done in analysis. You can see here, this part is with actually FEA method without actually modeling the scapula. But this is where with scapula also the whole part body, how the contact is, the color variation that you see is actually the pressure variation, where the maximum pressure is coming to red, and green is almost a neutral pressure. So how much force is coming onto the body is that you see here, and this result is actually the experimental data. So you can actually see how similar it is, how well it is matched with the experimental data. So it's not only for a general view, also person specific also you can do it for not only for bed, basically for prosthetics where the foam comes. So where the body and the prosthetic comes in contact, there should be the part should be very soft, and the foam should be modeled in such a way that the pressure will be less. It will be comfortable for the patient. Similarly, for making different kind of shoe sole for specific people, in those areas also you can be using these kind of analysis in order to understand how the contact pressure is varying and how contact actually changes it. So before moving forward, I would like to show one example also how actually simulation is working and all. So what you actually see here is the workbench. We call it as a workbench platform. This is ANSYS Workbench platform. So you can see different kind of models here, systems. You can see a system where static structural, where you do these kind of structural integrity analysis and all. Vibration for modal or finding the frequency analysis, you can go for modal analysis. So how you put is you just drag and drop. So this is how you bring in each system. And if you want to do multiple way, like share the model, share the mesh itself, you can do in this kind of way. Similarly, it's not only for structural way. If you want to take the result of a multi-physics analysis, where fluid also comes into picture. Last time we discussed in the shoulder implants, how a synovial fluid, the fluid part inside the body interacts with the structures and all. So in those cases also, you can bring your fluid analysis system and drag and drop into the solution of any structure systems, so that the solution part will be automatically transferred between and communicated between two different physics, right? So here I will show the geometry part first. So for ANSYS, in order to modify any part, or in order to model any structure, there is a CAD tool called Space Claim itself. So you can actually, it's just like any other CAD tools. So you can model your structure in your requirement way, same as any other CAD tool. You can even parameterize your dimensions, different dimensions you want to mention, like thickness wise, length wise. You can parameterize it, and you can modify here if you want. Like last time you asked for bone, if you want to how to make a crack in the bone, you can actually make a crack here, model that crack here in Space Claim, draw it, and you can make it in Space Claim. Whatever modification dimension wise, you all do it in Space Claim here. So here I am only taking the structure part, only the frame part of the wheelchair, where actually the bigger wheel comes here and the smaller wheel comes here. Then here, if you go here, double click in the engineering data part, the data where you give the material data. So this is the area where you actually give the materials, different kind of material data. So for foam kind of things, hyperelastic material, rubber kind of material, here are the material modelings for different kind of materials, neo-hooking, Muni-Rilvian. So different kind of material data are there, material modeling is there, temperature wise. So these are basically a highly nonlinear material modeling in order to understand these different kind of complex models, like foam or a memory, shape memory forms and all. You can actually model inside this. Then in order to do fatigue analysis, like what is the most important thing is SN curve, stress versus number of cycle curve. All those kind of material data are being provided here. So you can model, if you want to add any new one, you can actually enter here. Uh, uh, here, yeah. So if you want to do any new kind of material, you can click here and bring your own density. Yeah, your own density. You can mention density here in different units and all. So you can actually model your material in this engineering data part. Then go into yeah. So when you open this model part, from the modeling, after the geometry part, you import this here. From meshing, giving boundary conditions, giving forces, everything happens here itself. So this is the user interface of a mechanical part, or mechanical FEA part of ANSYS, basically. So here you can see the geometries, the basic geometry that we are taken from the Space Claim or any other CAD tool for say. So it doesn't have to be Space Claim itself. You can model your geometries in other CAD tools as well, like SolidWorks, CATIA. Um, So you can actually import any kind of tools. It doesn't have to be modeled in only space claim or ANSYS specified tools. Other formats are also supported. Then here in this case, so in this case, actually, what I modeled is only the structure part, and I've given a point mass in order to give the mass of a man. So I mentioned the mass and given the transfer of that mass to these four phases. Basically, I would show that. So the four phases where the load will be transferred or where the seats are fitting. So this mass around 100 kg I have applied here. So the mass will come over this part where the seats will be attaching. Then material is structural steel that I mentioned. If you want to actually change any kind of material here, actually you can change it. You can take any material data. Whatever you have seen there is same here. There you want to enter any new data or model in from the scratch, you can go for that. Otherwise, if you have ready-made material data, you can search here. Like, different materials are there, and you can actually see these material data here in order to understand this. Okay. So then comes the connection part, where if you have different connections, like bonded, here I've given a bonded connections, like these members are connected with each other. So what I mentioned is bonded connection for with respect to every part here. You can also mention different kind of contact if it's a frictional contact or no separation, frictionless contact. So different kind of nonlinear contacts can also be provided inside ANSYS. Then you mesh the part. So this is a mesh that you see here. So basically this is a geometry. So you have to mesh the part in order to discretize your model, so that you will be getting data or results from every nodes basically. So then here comes the part where you apply boundary conditions. Here itself you can apply your boundary conditions. So here I just where the wheel comes, wheel is getting attached. There I've given the fixed boundary condition basically. Yeah. So here I applied the fixed boundary condition in these two parts where the wheel are getting attached. Then coming into a result part, so only the higher wheel, bigger wheel area I have attached. So I just want to show how actually the workflow in ANSYS works. So I didn't model like in an actual way, parting every wheel part or the smaller part. But in order to understand how the workflow works, so you will be able to see how deformation when 100 kg is kept here and wheel is here, this is tilting in this direction, right? Similarly, you can see stresses where the maximum stress comes, where the region is possibility to fail. Then different kind of results are there. So you can go right click in the solution part, insert, and different kind of results you can see basically. And this is where you take different kind of results basically. So this is the overall actually generic workflow that we follow in ANSYS in order to do any kind of a structural analysis. So coming back to our presentation. So as I mentioned, like for matrices, specific kind of matrices, you can actually modify your dimensions of each matrix. So if you see here, this one part itself, you can optimize it in order to understand how it actually varies or how it's performed when a person is lying down. So here you can see yeah, you can see actually this is with respect to type. Suppose my analysis is done for this form where a person is lying down, and I'm taking the percentage change of pressure, how much pressure is varying with respect to type. So you can see here for a standard mattress, the percentage change of pressure is increasing. So with time, the mattress becomes hard, or with the time, the softness is lost, so that it's not comfortable for the patient. The pressure is changing and pressure is getting high and high. As you can see for this optimized or this kind of mattress, the pressure is not varying too much. It's almost constant. So it is really comfortable for the patient with respect to time also. It doesn't change much. Similarly, you can also study how the body blood flow changes with over time, right? So it's not only about the contact pressure between the body, but you can also study the fluid dynamics. In fluid dynamics, you can actually study how the blood flow with respect to time. So you can see here in the new mattress, actually the blood flow is actually increasing. It's better with respect to time. But for the other mattress, the normal mattress, it doesn't change much. Flow is almost reducing, or you can say flow is almost constant. It doesn't give a better efficiency for this mattress. Actually, I'm mentioning the paper that I've taken also. These are actual papers done or established papers. You can also check this if you require. Then coming into MRI scan part. So one of the major problem in MRI scans is the noise actually it produces, right? It can be so huge or so loud that it can actually incur hearing losses and all. So in order to understand how we can reduce the noise for different range of frequencies or damp out the sound, reduce the decimal sound, there are multiple ways actually we can do. Inside ANSYS actually we can model uh, the MRI part. Here you what see is this two blocks are the coils of MRI part, and the whole green part you see is air. So I am also modeling the air part inside the structures, so that I will be able to get what will be the noise or the decibel accurate decibel range in different locations in the air. You will be able to get those kind of results also. So usually in how we actually reduce the acoustic noise is making an asymmetric region or asymmetric design. What I meant by that is if you see in different buildings, like very huge buildings, there will be also small, comparatively smaller, tall buildings also nearby, right? So these are actually their frequency is actually damping out the bigger buildings' frequency. So when an earthquake comes or the wind load comes, uh, they damp out with respect to each other, so that the weighing or the movement of these buildings will be reduced. Similarly, by changing the length or by changing the dimensions of these coils, you can actually control the or damp out the acoustic levels. So in this example, you can see the coils where we are changing the length. So with respect to length and with respect to a frequency range, how will be the decibel? Right. So suppose say if I am for a particular length, for suppose say for particular length of 11 centimeter of my coil, and I am operating this at a range of 200 hertz to 400 hertz, the decibel level is almost an average of 2, right? Like that, you can optimize or you can parameterize your length and see for different kind of length, and you will be able to see that for this range it actually increases a little bit, but for the other range, 305 to 345 range, actually it increases and comes down actually, right? So from this analysis you will be able to understand if my coil is in between, suppose say 13 to 17, uh, it is a better range, right? So it's good for this range. If the working frequency is this range, the decibel level is actually coming down for this range, or the higher range. But for if you are going for the higher range, the higher frequency is making more noise. So what is your working range, you can understand and optimize your model accordingly. So this with respect to one more aspect is designing fabric. Right. So In majorly in hospitals, the viruses or microbial property microbes, bacteria, getting spread from doctors or nurses, and it spread in within patients itself. So this is a major concern in most of the hospital environment. It's dangerous for the doctors as well as for the patients also, right? So we all know that silver has a better antimicrobial properties. So this experiment is actually done in Fluent basically. So here what you can see is the background part is actually the fabric with silver linings. So you can actually see how actually the microbial concentration is getting reduced with the time. So after 50 minutes or within 60 minutes, it was able to see that 99% of the contamination was removed. So these kind of analysis can be done in order to understand or in order to make better fabrics, even for masks in these COVID situations, so that the antimicrobial properties can be taken advantage of. Not only these kind of analysis, we can actually do multiple kind of analysis for respect to other instruments which is being used for operations to test out the structural integrity or the mechanisms of the different kind of operation tools, operation equipments inside the operation theater, right? So this is actually a generic presentation, what all can be done or what is the roadmap for the health in healthcare industry basically. So these are some of the sources that I've taken from here. So if you have any queries, you can ask.